But one fine day when I took a decision to leave the army, a brilliant career that was going on, and come into the field of education, was that one spark I told you about.
Welcome to Wisdom with JJ. This is episode number 10, and today I have a very special guest who is really dear to my heart, and he's one of the mentor who have given me that push that Jogesh, you can do it. Go and start your own venture, and that's where JJ School of Employability was born. There was a final day when we completed TTST. Please welcome Brigadier Sushil Basil. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, Jogesh. Thank you very much. It's such a great pleasure to be with you. In fact, when I started with TTST, I had a mission of facilitating a process where we can get five national level trainers, and you are my best bet. So you are in those people I am looking at being the number one trainer in India. When I say number one, I mean is you're big enough to be recognized. There's no competition as such. So really speaking, one can't say who's number one and who's number two. But I have great hopes in you, and I'm very proud of you because you are one person who implemented a lot. And I always say that knowledge is not power. It is application of knowledge that is power. Success doesn't come from what you learn. Success comes from what you do with what you learn. And you have been doing it. And that's very good. I'm very happy. In fact, Jogesh, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And guys, it is very nostalgic when I'm sitting in this room because when I first met Sir, it was same room and it's where we same place, same set.
Yeah.
It is exactly same, and we discussed a lot of things. And he made me realize that the hourly worth that you have is not enough, and you're better enough than what you are currently getting. And it was a tough decision for me to take that plunge, but you always need a mentor and coach along with you side alongside you, who is always pushing your limits, and Brigadier was one. Sir, I have a very special question for guest.
And before you come to that question, Jogesh, I want to share with my audience. He keeps talking about push. And do you think I really pushed him? No, it's not a physical push. This push is persist unless success happens. And I persisted. And what I really, really feel good is when you are coaching and mentoring somebody, pushing is a matter of guiding. But it also depends on the learner whether he's prepared to move in that direction or not. So you have been successful, some other people have not been so successful. Reason is you implemented. So thank you once again.
Sir has a very decent journey. He served Indian Army for almost 4 decades, and after completing that many years of experience, or after having so many years of experience, he started his second inning in educating and impacting thousands and thousands of life. So, sir, could you share with audience about the journey that you have had in last four and a half decades of experience?
So, Jogesh, I say that every army officer by default is a trainer because in peace, you are training for war. Every army officer is in the peacetime training his troops for war. But some of us get an opportunity of being formal trainers in schools of instruction, as they are called. And I was very fortunate that right from the beginning of my career, I got commissioned in 1970. And in 71, I was in the Bihar Regimental Center involved in training of recruits. And recruit is a villager being converted into a soldier. Now, that is a grassroots elementary level of training that I did, absolute like micro level. And about 25 years later, I was in the Army Training Command, 20 years later, where I was involved in formulation of the training doctrine for the Indian Army. So it has been a very vast spectrum from that micro level to the micro level, looking at a bird's eye view of how the Indian Army is training. And we also had a mandate of comparing ourselves with other armies of the world and saying, are we abreast with others? In this span, or a vast spectrum from micro to macro. Uh, I was an instructor 3 times. I was also in the Faculty of Studies, which is a think tank of what is now called the Army War College, which is a world class premier institution. I told you I was in the Army Training Command, which is again a think tank of the Indian Army. And I was also the Brigadier General Staff of ASC Center and College. So I had a lot of training assignments. And this has given, and it gave me a lot of kick. The excitement used to come when you could see a transformation. You could see a change that you could facilitate. And that is what was really, really bringing in me that passion. But one fine day when I took a decision to leave the army, a brilliant career that was going on, and come into the field of education, was that one spark I told you about. And that was when I was asked to be the chairman of Army School. And I was told the school is not doing well. And I took that challenge and brought that school to a great level. And one day, the head girl of the school came up on the stage to thank me for what had happened in the school. And in the end, she said, "Sir, can you come on the stage and accept a small token of our love for you?" And what she gave me was a 12 feet long scroll in the shape of a pencil on which 800 children had signed a thank you note. Very interestingly, she made an eraser. They made an eraser on top which said, "No organization changed without a good leader. Sir, thank you for your leadership." And on the tip of the pencil, which is the lead, they wrote down, "We love you, sir. We'll never forget you." It was too touching. And I came home and told my wife, "I'm leaving the army. I found a calling for my life. I found the children needed me more than the defense needed me." And having done 34 years in the army, I thought there's enough of one experience. I loved it. I enjoyed every minute of my army career. I have no regrets, not even for a minute. But I thought that was enough of an experience. Let me see something different. And last 14 years has been interesting, it has been challenging, it has been tough, but it has been full of fun. And I've loved all these 14 years being in the corporate world, being with schools, colleges, being with children, being with the teachers, being with principals. It's been all fun.
Guys, that's 48 years almost of experience in like almost 5 minutes, 3 minutes that sir has taken. And we understand there have been a lot of experiences that you have to share in those 14 years or almost 48 years of experience that you've had. Sir, what are the current projects that has your attention? What is it that has your attention as of today?
So, Jogesh, you know that my signature program was TTST. So, did about 8 programs in 5 different cities, and trained about 1,000 trainers across the country, out of which about 50 of you took the paid and the advanced program. I have somehow put that on a hold because I was developing some other programs, and I'm going to bounce back with that. But I have not stopped training the trainers. So I do that at a program called Dronacharya, which is a Eka Academy program run by Captain Muthu Krishnan. So I've joined hands with him and I lead the facilitation in that program. So continuing with that, I also do one-to-one coaching with certain trainers who want to become good trainers. Either you are stepping into training or you are a trainer and you want to reach a higher level. uh, I do one-to-one coaching to share my experiences of how you can elevate yourself. So that is one. Second is I have also now switched on to a lot of online stuff. So I do webinars, I do Facebook lives. Uh, I'm working on some more online courses. I already have 2 online courses, one on goal setting and one on parenting. But somehow the company on which I was doing has somehow slowed down and they're having problems. Otherwise, by now, about 10 online courses would have been there. So the second thing is online courses. The third thing is, and that's thanks to you, that you gave me that idea of speaking assignments. So now I'm doing a lot of speaking assignments. They don't give me money, but they give me a lot of satisfaction, a lot of good audience. I meet a lot of people, and I feel I am able to at least put my message across. So I've been telling my trainers that you must have two goals: a financial goal and a functional goal. So while I also look at the money I'm going to earn from my training, because that's my business, I also look at how many people am I reaching out to. So when I am slow or the slow season or I'm not getting my paid programs, that's the time you go to organizations like Rotary or Lion, or you go and do programs, complementary programs in colleges and all, where while you're not getting money, at least you are getting experience and you are in touch. And you're also in the learning process, because every program you do, there's a lot of learning from the audience, from the learner. And as I believe learning is a two-way process, why should I stop my learning? Okay, so these are the couple of things I'm doing. Of course, writing books. So I did a lot of things other than just doing seminars. When I started in 2004, it was only outbound training. I was just doing experiential learning and facilitation in an outbound environment. That was it. Now I'm doing indoor workshops, I'm doing seminars, speaking assignments, big workshops, or big audience talking, keynote speeches. And then I've also gone on to online. And I feel today's trainer needs to do all this, because being in one particular sphere will not make you reach out to people.
Uh, so a lot of audience that we have, sir, today is youngsters, and who are in 4 years, 5 years of their career, they've just started their career or they're about to start their career. Out of 48 years of experience that you have, almost 5 decades of experience, guys, what is the wisdom, what is the advice that you would want to share with the audience that they should probably take into account as principles, you can call it? What are those learnings that you would want to share?
Okay, so I really don't know where what are you looking for, but let me give you two three aspects. One is your personal characteristics that will make you give a good standing. One is be grounded and rooted, be genuine. See, all people who try to put up a false front, they never succeed. That's a short term. You can fly by night operators don't last. Authenticity is very important. You should be what. A lot of times I've been told, don't do this. This is not what trainers should do. For example, I've been told n number of times that one of my weaknesses is that I'm accessible to people. Anyone can call me up. So they say, oh, you should be unaccessible. People should be. I can't do that. I'm authentic. All these years I've been telling my students, once a student is my lifetime student, you can call me anytime. So, after TDST, you have been calling me anytime I'm available. But most trainers, I find, once you do that course for the rest of your life, you can't meet them till you pay up and do another course with them. Uh, right or wrong, I don't know. They must be right, I must be wrong. But I want to be authentic. I don't want to live a life of somebody else. I heard a trainer who says, I come in a Mercedes only because for you, because people will say, oh, ye metro mein aaya. So because I'm traveling in metro, I will lower my. I don't think my substance lies in what I wear and what I travel by. No, it doesn't. So that is one thing I'll say. The second thing is, there is just no shortcut to knowledge. Now, a lot of people say knowledge is available. It is not knowledge per se, it is not the information. I'm talking about knowledge, I'm talking about experience. You have to learn and apply that knowledge and tell your audience what Google doesn't tell them, which means application. Okay. So, knowledge, hard work, authenticity, and being honest to yourself. You can cheat others. How do you keep cheating yourself? Listen to Mel Robbins saying, "Don't." She says, "Don't screw your life." Means you are telling lies to yourself every day. You are telling yourself, "I'm fine," when you're not fine. So Be authentic. That's what I feel, and I walk that talk. I don't think anyone can say that I'm not authentic. I don't put up a false front. I never pretend to be doing what I don't do. And in many of my workshops, I talk about my weaknesses and I tell them, I can't do this. Can you do it? In parenting workshops, I talk about what I learned out of my mistakes as a parent. I don't tell you what you should do, what I did. I tell you, I made those mistakes. Don't you make them. So, point is, be genuine.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing which I want to tell the youngsters today, I feel in a way that you have a greater challenge. Life is becoming so uncertain. We are in the D VUCA D world, and the complexity is becoming more. The uncertainty is becoming even more. So therefore, all of us have always had to face this thing called change. And you heard of people saying that's the only constant. So things have been changing. Things were changing when I was a kid. And my grandfather says that things were changing when he was a kid also. So there's nothing new over that. But the difference in the change then and the difference in change now is the speed of change. And today's youngster has a big challenge of how to cope up with the speed of change. You are to work in an area of uncertainty, unpredictability, but you have data. You can make some predictability curves. You can look at, and so you have to be operating ahead of the predictability curve, means be prepared for the future. And if you remember in that career festival that we did together for Rotary in Vapi, a very, very big thing was that 67% of the jobs will cease to exist in 10 years' time, what are existing today.
Yes.
So today, the children in class 7, 8 don't even know what they're going to do.
Yes.
Like 20 years back, you didn't know that there'll be something called a software engineer. Okay, so things have changed and things are changing faster. So, what are these children going to do? Those jobs are not even known right now. So, I tell parents, I tell children, there are three things that are going to be helping these children a lot. Teach them those skills. And those skills are creativity, innovation, and imagination. These are the three things which are going to strengthen your chances of handling a future which is uncertain, unpredictable.
So you talked about creativity, imagination, and one more, innovation. Uh, let us let us go a little step further and try to understand that yes, these are the things which are really important, and you also have an experience of interacting with a lot of parents, teachers, and principals. So how can they, because what I believe in is these are the people who make a bigger impact in lives of youngsters in terms of shaping their career. So what is your message to these educators and these torch bearers who are to whom children look up to whom youngsters look up to? What are your probably a piece of advice, or what is your wisdom that you would want to share with them?
Number one, listen. We don't listen to children. We don't know what they want. We presume we know what they want. We give them what we think they want. We don't give them what they want. Number one, listen to them carefully. Number two, be realistic. Live in their world. Don't try to say, I used to do this. वो zamana khatam hai, that's gone. Live in their world. Today's world is different. You have to live their lives. You have to understand what they are doing. And therefore, be with them. Empathy is the answer. Be in their shoes. And third thing is, they need your time and you don't have time for them. You're going in for shortcuts. You tell your children, I've got 2 minutes. My children tell me they have 2 minutes for me. Somewhere you have to find time for each other. If you want to influence your children, whether you are an educator, a parent, or anyone who's influencing a child, you need to spend time. And in a parenting workshop, when I asked a lady, a mother, how much time do you spend with your child? She said 4 hours. And I said, you're a working woman. Tell me, how do you spend 4 hours with your child? Say, I come home at 7, we sleep at 11, so 4 hours. 4 hours is not the time you are with the child in the house. I want to know how much time do you spend with the child, talking to him, interacting with him. And then it came to half an hour. And in that half an hour, what are you doing? I'm watching the TV with the child. I said, no, what is the attention you're giving to the child exclusively? Unbiased, uninterrupted attention to the child. How much it comes to a few minutes. And in those few minutes, what do you say to him? What is the type of interaction you have? My interaction is, did you eat your tiffin in the school? What happened in the school? Are you doing interview? Are you asking him questions for him to answer? He's fed up. He is fed up of answering your questions. He wants you to listen to him. He has stories to tell you. He has experience of the day to tell you. Invite his stories and understand what he wants. Understand. So today also you need to understand what is the passion of this child, and can I help my child to develop his passion and not inject mine into him.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one. That's a good one. And sir, one of the advantage that has happened, after me quitting the job and doing and following my passion, which made me do that, and I have been able to spend a lot of good time with my 4 year young son, and I see a lot of changes in him after I'm spending more time with him, because both of us being working, the quality of time which you rightly said was comparatively lesser, but now me being him with him, operating from home a lot of time, because I do a lot of things online, it gives me freedom to spend time with him. And also, as you said, they have a lot of stories to say, and which some of them we would miss if we are too much into our own things. So it's a very great point that you bring in. Sir is also an author of two books. One is Design Your Life, and another book is upcoming and getting launched. And sir, that is the $1 million second. We would want to know from you the story behind writing these two books, and why do you think the second is $1 million second?
Okay. So, the first book that I wrote, which is called Design Your Life, was primarily aimed at a student. So, what was in my mind that time was I visualized the class 10 student, and what is the first professional decision you take in your life in class 10 was which stream to take. Okay, that's your first decision. And then every decision you take, big or small, starts paving a path for your life. And if you take those decisions more deliberately, and if you take people's advice, be mentored, be coached, you can make that path a little better than a zigzag path that would take place if you leave it chaotic and on its own. So in this book, I have covered things uh, which help you take your decisions, be an owner of your life, be a driver of your life's car, and decide what you want to do in life. Own it, own your responsibility. Like Jack Canfield said, and I learned it from him very hard right in 2005 when I did his workshop, you are 100% responsible for your life. That's one of the chapters of his book called Success Principles. So, this book is full of stories. There are no theories, and it's written in a language which children understand. So, I've been getting a lot of compliments on this, that the children read my book because one, it relates to them. It's very, very down to earth on what their challenges are. And the second is that it is written in their language. They like it. If I would write it in the proper Queen's English, maybe it would be a little difficult for them. So, this book has done very well, and this book encouraged me to write my second book. In fact, I've made a project of writing 5 books, and the second one is now called $1 million Second. And this is basically a book on the value, the importance, and the relevance of time as a resource. It's not a time management book, it's not management tips alone. Of course, we are talking about it, but as some people rightly say, you don't manage time, you manage work. Time is unmanageable because it goes at a fixed pace. So, time management would be something like, okay, I'm going to slow down 30 minutes now and accelerate 60 minutes later. That could be time management. But notwithstanding, let's assume that the time management word means managing work. Actually, people mean that. Agreed. So it's not only focused on that. So it's beyond a time management book. It is something go in your subconscious mind as a value of time. So Jugesh, if you remember, and you might like to share with people sitting here, right here, what kicked you in your life was that word hourly worth. And that's one chapter of your book, of this book. And Jogesh is mentioned in it very strongly because that was his, he's one person. I heard this term called hourly worth from Brian Tracy when I attended his first workshop somewhere in 2012 or 13. And he said, "Do you know your hourly worth?" And when you calculate your hourly worth, he said, "Sir, I find my hourly worth is just 350 rupees." And I convinced him that he had the capability because he already started coaching some students on employability. And I said, "You have a subject, you have an audience, and you have a capability of earning 10 times. Why are you stuck to this?" And then how much time do you spend? I still remember you said 13 hours. 13 hours of my day I'm spending on my work. If I was spending 13 hours on my own, and like I said, I could spend more time with my wife and my son, obviously I will get more value out of my time. So the first thing in this book is understanding or relating the value of time as a resource, so that when you waste time, it is something like you waste money. Can you relate? So if you have an hourly worth, say my hourly worth is 1000 rupees, and if I go for a movie for 2 hours, I know that my 2000 rupees worth of time is gone. I've got some yardstick in my mind to relate to it.
Yeah.
So that is something which I brought about in the book. The second very important ingredient is this book called ROTI, return on time invested. We all calculate a return on investment in business when we are talking about the profitability of a business, whereas we never care about the time that went into it. So if you match the two and also say, what is the return on time invested in this project? And in this book, I've explained how to do it. And also, not only individually, but let's say you do a meeting, let's say there's a corporate event, and you ask everyone to work out his roti, and you make a chart, and there's a way of doing it. You will be able to get a very good feedback whether that event was worth doing it from the time that you invested in it. Did you get its value as an organization or not? Okay, and the collective time that people waste or people use for productivity in an organization. And the third thing I'm talking about in this book is called entrepreneurship of time. Entrepreneurship of time is just related to anything entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means getting best profit from the least resources invested. Convert this into time and say, how do I invest the least amount of time to produce the maximum amount of results? Okay. And the fourth thing I'm talking about is understanding, can I buy and sell time? It is more of a I'll say a fable tale in your mind or something abstract. I'm not literally saying, but aren't we really buying time now also?